Take a deep breath, and let's hear a story about Billy, a sleepy little koala with a big dream to climb sky, mountain, and see the most beautiful sunrise in all of Australia. In the heart of a peaceful Australian eucalyptus forest, there lived a small koala named Billy. His soft gray fur caught the gentle morning light as it filtered through the leaves, creating dancing patterns on his round belly. Billy's home was a cozy hollow in an ancient eucalyptus tree, lined with the softest leaves he could find. The sweet scent of eucalyptus filled his nostrils each morning, a familiar comfort that made him smile even before opening his eyes. Each day, Billy would wake to the melodious songs of kookaburras and rainbow lorikeets, their cheerful tunes floating through the crisp morning air. Billy was known throughout the forest for two things: his extraordinarily long naps and his curious eyes that sparkled like dewdrops when he spoke of dreams. Unlike other koalas who were content with their daily routine of eating and sleeping, Billy often gazed at the distant peaks of the Sky Mountain with wonder in his heart. The mountain stood majestically on the horizon, its summit often kissed by cotton candy clouds and bathed in golden light at dawn. Billy would spend hours watching it from his branch, imagining what it would feel like to be up there, closer to the stars than any koala had been before. In the neighboring grove lived Lili, a young kangaroo with a coat the color of honey and a smile that could brighten the darkest day. Her boundless energy was a stark contrast to Billy's leisurely pace, but they had formed an unbreakable friendship over many shared sunsets and stories. Lili's powerful legs could take her wherever she wanted to go, and her adventurous spirit matched her physical abilities. She loved to explore new parts of the forest, discovering hidden waterfalls and secret meadows that few had ever seen before. When Billy shared his dream of climbing Sky Mountain, Lili's eyes lit up with excitement and possibility. The forest where they lived was a tapestry of colors and textures: emerald leaves, silver bark, golden wattles, and ruby bottlebrush flowers. Gentle breezes carried the whispers of ancient trees and the sweet perfume of native blossoms throughout their home. The ground was carpeted with soft mosses and fallen leaves that crunched pleasantly underfoot, creating a natural symphony with each step. Small creeks meandered through the landscape, their crystal waters reflecting the blue sky above and providing refreshment for all the forest creatures. Every evening, as the sun began its descent, the forest would transform into a magical realm of soft shadows and warm golden light. Billy would watch from his favorite branch as fireflies began their enchanting dance, tiny lanterns illuminating the growing darkness. The chorus of cicadas would rise and fall in rhythmic waves, a soothing lullaby that usually sent Billy into his deep, contented sleep. But lately, something had been keeping him awake, a persistent thought that refused to fade with the daylight. What if he could watch the sunrise from the top of Sky Mountain? The idea had taken root in Billy's heart during the last full moon. When he had stayed awake longer than usual, mesmerized by the silver light painting the forest, the mountain had seemed to call to him that night, its silhouette sharp against the star-studded sky. Despite his natural inclination toward restfulness and his species' reputation for lethargy, Billy felt a growing determination. The thought of witnessing dawn from the mountain's peak filled him with a quiet excitement that bubbled through his veins like sweet honey. One particularly beautiful morning, as mist hung low over the forest floor, creating a dreamlike atmosphere, Billy made his decision. The soft light of early dawn filtered through his eyelids, gently rousing him from his slumber. He stretched his small limbs and yawned widely, feeling the cool morning air fill his lungs. Today would be the day he would share his dream with Lili and ask for her help. His heart fluttered with anticipation as he carefully climbed down from his sleeping branch. The forest was just awakening as Billy made his way to Lili's home. Dewdrops sparkled on spider webs like strings of tiny diamonds, and the first rays of sunshine created golden pathways through the canopy. The earth felt cool beneath his paws, still holding the freshness of night. Billy took his time, savoring the morning sounds and smells that most koalas missed during their extended daytime naps. He felt more awake and alive than he had in months, energized by the purpose that now guided his steps. When he reached Lili's clearing, he found her already practicing her impressive jumps, her powerful legs propelling her high into the air with graceful ease. Billy watched in admiration for a moment, marveling at how effortlessly she moved, so different from his own cautious climbs. The morning light caught in her fur, giving her an almost golden glow as she bounded about. When she noticed Billy, her face lit up with a smile that warmed him like sunshine. "Billy, what brings you out so early?" Lili called, hopping over to him with 3 quick bounds. Her eyes were bright with curiosity and delight at seeing her friend at such an unusual hour. Billy's presence in the morning was rare enough to be noteworthy, and Lili could tell by the determined look in his eyes that something important was on his mind. She tilted her head, waiting patiently as Billy gathered his thoughts. "I have a dream, Lili," Billy said, his voice soft but clear in the morning stillness. "I want to climb Sky Mountain to see the sunrise from its peak." He pointed toward the distant mountain that loomed on the horizon, its top obscured by wisps of morning mist. "But I can't do it alone. Would you help me?" His eyes held a mixture of hope and vulnerability that touched Lili's heart. Billy knew his request was significant. The journey would be long and challenging for a koala accustomed to the safety of his eucalyptus grove. Lili's eyes widened with surprise before crinkling with joy. "Oh, Billy, what a wonderful adventure that would be!" she exclaimed, her entire body seeming to vibrate with excitement. She bounced in place, already imagining the journey ahead and the magnificent view that would await them. "Of course I'll help you. We'll need to prepare, though. It's quite a journey, especially for someone who usually takes 5 naps a day." Her teasing was gentle, wrapped in affection for her friend's typically sleepy nature. Billy smiled gratefully, relief washing over him like a cool breeze. With Lili by his side, his dream suddenly seemed possible, rather than just a distant wish. They spent the rest of the morning planning their adventure, discussing what they would need and the best route to take. As they talked, Billy felt a growing sense of anticipation mingled with gratitude for his friend's unwavering support. The forest around them seemed to glow with possibility, the sunlight filtering through the leaves like a blessing on their upcoming journey. The next morning arrived with a palette of pastel colors painting the sky as Billy and Lili set out on their journey to Sky Mountain. Billy had packed a small bundle of his favorite eucalyptus leaves to snack on during their trip, while Lili carried a pouch of water in a hollowed-out gourd. The air was crisp and sweet, filled with the promise of adventure and new discoveries. Birds called to each other overhead, seeming to announce the travelers' departure to the rest of the forest. Billy took one last look at his beloved eucalyptus tree, silently promising to return with stories of his grand adventure. The first part of their journey took them through familiar territory, the winding paths of their home forest, where sunlight dappled the ground through the canopy of leaves above. Billy marveled at how different everything looked in the early morning light, with dewdrops glistening on spider webs and flowers just opening their petals to greet the day. Lili moved with confident bounds, occasionally stopping to wait for Billy, who followed at his own methodical pace. The soft earth beneath them cushioned their steps, and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze created a soothing backdrop to their conversation. By midday, they had reached the edge of their known world, a bubbling creek that marked the boundary of their forest home. The water sparkled in the sunlight, creating tiny rainbows as it tumbled over smooth stones. Billy's eyes widened at the sight of the rushing water, his usual sleepiness forgotten in the face of this new challenge. He had never crossed such a wide creek before, and uncertainty flickered across his face. Lili noticed his hesitation and placed a reassuring paw on his shoulder, her touch gentle and comforting. "Don't worry, Billy. I know a place where the creek narrows, and fallen logs create a natural bridge," Lili said, her voice confident and soothing. She pointed upstream where the water moved more gently between the banks. "We can cross there safely, and I'll be right beside you the whole time." Her eyes held nothing but patience and understanding, giving Billy the courage to nod and follow her lead. Together they made their way along the bank, the cool mist from the water refreshing them as they walked. The log bridge was just as Lili had described, a massive fallen eucalyptus tree, creating a pathway across the burbling water. Sunlight filtered through the canopy above, casting dappled patterns on the smooth bark of the log. Billy approached it cautiously, his small claws gripping the wood as he took his first tentative steps. The sound of the water beneath him was both frightening and exhilarating. Lili hopped alongside him, matching her pace to his, her presence a constant comfort as they made their way across the natural bridge. On the other side of the creek, the landscape began to change. The dense eucalyptus forest gave way to more open woodland, with wider spaces between the trees and patches of golden grassland. Billy felt the warm sunshine more directly here, its gentle heat seeping into his fur and making him pleasantly drowsy. The familiar urge to nap tugged at him, but the sight of Sky Mountain growing larger on the horizon kept him moving forward. He could now make out the different colors of the mountainside, the deep greens of the forest at its base, the lighter patches of rock, and the misty blue summit. As they continued their journey through the woodland, a small, distressed chirping sound caught Billy's sensitive ears. He paused, tilting his head to locate the source of the noise. There, beneath a small bush with bright red berries, was a tiny robin with a wing that drooped at an odd angle. The bird's feathers were a brilliant red against the green foliage, and its small black eyes were bright with fear. "Lili, look," Billy whispered, already moving carefully toward the injured creature, his heart filled with concern for the small bird, momentarily forgetting his own journey. With gentle movements that belied his usual clumsiness, Billy approached the frightened robin. "It's all right, little one. We won't hurt you," he said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. The bird watched him warily but didn't try to flee, perhaps recognizing that these strangers meant no harm. Billy examined the wing with careful eyes, noting that it didn't appear broken, but seemed to be strained or sprained. Drawing on knowledge passed down through generations of forest dwellers, he knew that rest was what the robin needed most. "We should help her," Billy said decisively, looking up at Lili with determination in his eyes. "She can't fly home with that wing, and it's not safe for her on the ground." Without hesitation, Lili agreed, her kind heart always ready to assist those in need. Together, they fashioned a small nest from soft grasses and placed it in Billy's fur between his shoulders, where the robin could ride safely. The bird, whom they decided to call Ruby, settled into her temporary home with a grateful chirp, her tiny body warm against Billy's back. Their journey now had a new purpose, to help Ruby find her family while continuing toward Sky Mountain. The added responsibility seemed to energize Billy rather than tire him. Each step was taken with more care than before, mindful of their small passenger. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across their path as they moved through meadows dotted with wildflowers in every color imaginable. Butterflies danced around them, their delicate wings catching the light like stained glass. The air was filled with the sweet scent of nectar and warm earth. As the day progressed, the terrain became more challenging. The gentle slopes began to rise more steeply, and the path narrowed as they started their ascent up the foothills of Sky Mountain. Billy's legs, unused to such exertion, began to ache pleasantly, a reminder of the extraordinary journey he had undertaken. Small rocks and pebbles under his paws provided a different texture than the soft forest floor he was accustomed to. Lili stayed close by, offering support when needed and sharing stories to keep their spirits high as they climbed. The higher they went, the more spectacular the views became. Looking back, Billy could see the patchwork of forests, meadows, and winding silver creeks that made up the land below. The perspective was entirely new to him. He had never been high enough to see his world from above. A gentle breeze carried the scent of mountain herbs and wildflowers, refreshing and invigorating. The air felt lighter here, cleaner somehow, filling his lungs with renewed energy, despite the physical challenge of the climb. As the afternoon began to wane, they heard the distant sound of birdsong similar to Ruby's calls. The little robin perked up, her chirps becoming more excited and frequent. Following the sounds, they discovered a tall gum tree where a family of robins had made their nest. Ruby's cheeping reached a fever pitch when she spotted her family, and the answering calls from the nest confirmed they had found her home. With careful movements, Billy helped Ruby from her grass nest to a low branch of the gum tree, from where she could be reunited with her loved ones. The joy of watching Ruby hop carefully toward her family, her injured wing already showing signs of improvement, filled Billy and Lili with a warm sense of accomplishment. The parent birds circled around them, chirping what could only be interpreted as thanks. One even dropped a small, perfect feather that floated down to land on Billy's paw, a gift he carefully tucked away as a memento. The setting sun cast a golden glow over the touching scene, highlighting the simple beauty of family reunited. It was a moment of pure happiness that Billy knew he would treasure forever. With Ruby safely home, Billy and Lili continued their ascent, now needing to find shelter for the night, before completing their journey to the mountain's peak in the morning. The shadows were growing longer, and a gentle twilight began to envelop the mountainside. They discovered a small cave formed by overhanging rocks, its entrance partially concealed by ferns with delicate fronds that swayed in the evening breeze. Inside, the ground was soft with fallen leaves that had blown in over time, creating a natural carpet that would make a comfortable bed for the night. Billy and Lili settled into their mountain shelter as the first stars began to appear in the darkening sky. The cave's entrance framed a perfect view of the world below, now transformed into a tapestry of deep blues and purples, touched with the last golden rays of the setting sun. They shared Billy's eucalyptus leaves and sipped fresh water from Lili's gourd, the simple meal tasting better than any they had enjoyed before. The mountain air was cool and refreshing, carrying the scent of night-blooming flowers that grew in the rocky crevices around them. As night fully embraced the mountain, Billy felt a profound sense of peace wash over him. He had journeyed farther from home than any koala he knew, helped a lost bird find her family, and was now only a short distance from realizing his dream. The cave was silent except for the soft sounds of their breathing and the occasional distant call of a night bird. Lili had curled up nearby, her steady presence a comfort in the unfamiliar surroundings. Billy watched the stars through the cave entrance, marveling at how much brighter and closer they seemed up here on the mountainside. "Thank you, Lili," Billy whispered into the darkness, his voice soft with gratitude. "I never would have made it this far without you." The words seemed inadequate to express the depth of his appreciation for his friend's support and companionship. In the gentle starlight, he could see Lili's smile, her eyes reflecting the twinkling lights above. "That's what friends are for, Billy," she replied, her voice equally soft. "Besides, this is the greatest adventure of my life, too." The simple exchange warmed Billy's heart as drowsiness began to overtake him. That night, Billy slept more deeply and peacefully than ever before, lulled by the mountain's quiet embrace and the satisfaction of the day's journey. His dreams were filled with flying alongside Ruby, soaring over the landscapes they had traversed, seeing the world from an even greater height than the mountain would provide. The cool night air caressed his fur, and the soft bed of leaves cradled him gently. Even in sleep, a small smile graced his face, reflecting the joy and wonder that had filled this extraordinary day. Before the first light of dawn, Lili gently roused Billy from his slumber. "Wake up, sleepyhead," she whispered, her voice tinged with excitement. "It's almost time." Billy blinked awake, momentarily disoriented until he remembered where they were and why. Anticipation immediately chased away any remaining drowsiness as he realized his dream was about to become reality. They quickly gathered their few belongings and stepped out of the cave into the pre-dawn darkness, the air crisp and expectant with the promise of a new day. The final climb to the summit was short but steep. Billy's legs trembled slightly with effort and excitement as they made their way up the rocky path. The sky above them was beginning to lighten almost imperceptibly, deep indigo giving way to a softer blue at the edges of the horizon. Stars still shimmered overhead, though their light was fading as the greater light approached. A gentle breeze carried the scent of dew and earth, refreshing their senses as they climbed higher and higher toward their destination. When they finally reached the summit, Billy gasped at the unobstructed view that greeted them. The world stretched out beneath them in every direction, forests and meadows and rivers all rendered in the soft blues and purples of pre-dawn light. The horizon was an infinite line where earth met sky, extending beyond what Billy had ever imagined possible. They had arrived at the perfect moment. The stage was set for nature's most magnificent daily performance. Lili sat beside him, equally awed by the spectacle before them, her usual boundless energy subdued by the majesty of the moment. As they watched in reverent silence, the first hint of change appeared along the eastern horizon, a subtle warming of color, a barely perceptible lightening of the sky. The transformation was gradual yet mesmerizing, like a master painter slowly adding new colors to a canvas. First came the palest pink, then a touch of gold, spreading along the edge of the world like a gentle tide. Billy held his breath, his heart full to bursting with the beauty unfolding before him. This was even more wonderful than he had imagined during all those days gazing at the mountain from his eucalyptus tree. The colors intensified, the pink deepening to rose and then to crimson, while the gold brightened to a brilliant yellow that seemed to set the clouds aflame. The sky above was now a canvas of color, vivid orange near the horizon, gradually blending into the soft blue of the retreating night. Stars faded one by one as the light grew stronger, bidding farewell until another night. The air itself seemed to shimmer with anticipation, and Billy felt as though the whole world was holding its breath along with him, waiting for the sun's grand entrance. And then, in a moment of pure magic, the first sliver of the sun itself appeared, a dazzling arc of light that grew with aching slowness into a semicircle and then a full radiant sphere. Its light transformed everything it touched, bringing color and definition to the world below. The forests became emerald, the rivers silver, the distant plains golden. Warmth reached out to touch Billy's face, and he closed his eyes for a moment, savoring the sensation. When he opened them again, tears of joy blurred his vision, making the sunrise shimmer even more magically before him. "Oh, Lili," he whispered, unable to find words adequate to express what he was feeling. The sunrise had exceeded every expectation, every dream he had nursed during long afternoons in his eucalyptus tree. Beside him, Lili was equally moved, her eyes wide with wonder, and her usual chatter silenced by the magnificence of the moment. They sat together in companionable silence as the sun continued its ascent, bathing them in its gentle morning light. The air warmed around them, carrying the scent of sun-warmed stone and mountain wildflowers just opening their petals to the new day. As the sun rose higher, Billy felt a profound sense of accomplishment wash over him. He, a koala who was known for sleeping most of his life away, had undertaken this journey and achieved his dream. The thought filled him with quiet confidence and joy. Perhaps there were other adventures waiting for him in the future, other dreams to pursue. The world suddenly seemed fuller of possibilities than he had ever imagined. He glanced at Lili, seeing his own joy reflected in her eyes, and knew that whatever adventures lay ahead, their friendship would make them possible. They spent the morning on the mountain top, soaking in the sunshine and the spectacular views. Billy pointed out landmarks they had passed on their journey, the creek they had crossed, the meadow where they had found Ruby, the gum tree where they had reunited her with her family. From this height, their journey seemed both impressive and small against the vastness of the landscape. The perspective was humbling, yet empowering, reminding them of their place in the grand tapestry of nature, while celebrating their ability to move through it on their own terms. When the time came to begin their journey home, Billy took one last look at the view from Sky Mountain's peak. The memory of the sunrise would stay with him forever, a treasure more precious than any physical object. He had proven to himself that even a small, sleepy koala could accomplish great things with determination, courage, and the help of a good friend. As they started their descent, Billy felt lighter somehow, as though the achievement of his dream had lifted a weight he hadn't owned, he was carrying. His steps were sure and steady, filled with the confidence of one who had faced challenges and overcome them. Their return journey was filled with laughter and shared memories of their adventure. They found new paths to explore, discovered a hidden waterfall where they stopped to rest and refresh themselves, and gathered sweet berries to supplement their dwindling supplies. The downhill trek was easier physically, but no less rich in experiences and joy. By the time the familiar trees of their home forest came into view, Billy was pleasantly tired, but filled with a contentment that reached to his very core. The eucalyptus scent that greeted them felt both wonderfully familiar and somehow new, as if he was experiencing it through changed eyes. That night, back in his beloved eucalyptus tree, Billy settled into his sleeping hollow with a heart full of gratitude and joy. The leaves cradled him comfortably, their familiar scent mixing with the lingering smells of adventure, mountain air, wild flowers, and distant horizons. As sleep began to claim him, he thought of the sunrise he had witnessed, the friend who had accompanied him, and the small bird they had helped along the way. Dreams of future adventures danced at the edges of his consciousness, but for now, the simple pleasure of rest was enough. Billy fell asleep with a smile on his face, a small koala who had fulfilled a big dream, proving that with courage, friendship, and patience, anything is possible.